I am in possession of the best Airbnb pricing strategy for hosts with fewer than 15 listings. I'm going to teach you my pricing strategy on this video. If you feel unconfident about how to price your listing correctly through the full 12 months, I want you to stick around on this video. I'm gonna make it as short as I can. In my markets, when I look at my occupancy and my nightly rates, I am way above. I'm at the top of the market in both of those categories. I'm gonna teach you how to do that. What I find a lot of times what happens is hosts are sometimes good in their occupancy, but their nightly rates are average. We want both of those high, and that's how we know we have a very good pricing strategy. Now, I'm gonna take you into my price labs in a moment. Today is Wednesday when I'm recording this. Every Wednesday, I go in and I manage my pricing. That's the first thing I need you to understand, is that to be good at pricing, you have to have a routine. You have to do it on 1 day a week. That's what I recommend. After you learn the strategy, it takes 30 seconds per week per listing, but you need to be recording some things. I'm also going to share with you my private document that I have been using for years and years. My pricing strategy has stayed remarkably consistent. There's been some small changes as new pricing tools came online or customizations. All of that I'm going to explain to you in this video. So stick around, please let me explain this to you so you can finally take the guesswork out of pricing. That's what's beautiful about my strategy is if X, then Y. If my occupancy is this, I raise or lower that. So there's my pricing strategy, and it's applied locally for you. And it uses the booking lead time. I'll show you how to get that for your listing in Airbnb. My pricing strategy is in addition to dynamic pricing tools. They do not use booking lead time. You can decide for yourself whether or not using booking lead time makes sense. I hope that you decide it does. Before we jump in, let me explain to you a high level of my pricing strategy, okay? So it's 2 steps. The first step is the basics. We're gonna go over minimum price. What is base price? Booking targets, which I will explain further in a moment with my private document here that I'm sharing with you. Booking lead time, weekly maintenance schedule, pricing schedule, and then step 2 is the customizations. Let's save that for the second half of the video. Now, first things first, you need to know what your booking lead time is. So if you go to Airbnb, first things first, we want to get our booking lead time for each listing. So I'll show you how to do that within the Airbnb dashboard. They've actually made this pretty easy. Switch to hosting, go to Insights dashboard. Down in conversion, the second option is going to be booking lead time. Always select a specific listing. All right, so for this particular listing, my booking lead time is 14 days. What that tells me is that half of my reservations are coming today, same day, up until 14 days. The other half, or 50%, are coming 15 days and into the future. That is important. Let me take you over to my document here. Focus on the middle here. So we have 15 days booking lead time, right? And I know that 50% of my reservations are coming before and after that. So at 15 days, and in this case, when I'm talking about occupancy, we're talking about the future. Sometimes that gets confused because a lot of people, when they talk about occupancy, they're talking about the past. When we're looking at pricing, occupancy is future-based. So I want to be at that 15 days into the future. I know I want to be 50% occupied. See that? That's your first booking target and your most important one. So now, skipping ahead a little bit here, and I'm going to be asking you questions during this video, so you have to pay attention. This is not one of those videos where you put on when you're cooking lunch or eating dinner. I have a lot of those as well, where if you miss 75% of what that person is saying, doesn't matter. You have to pay attention here because this video alone is going to make you at least $10,000 minimum. That's if your nightly price is around $75 and your occupancy and nightly rate are average in the market. I'm making $90,000 more than similar hosts with this pricing strategy. So let's continue and build out. So if we want to be 50% occupied at 15 days, and by the way, what if your booking lead time is 30 days? Then you just add 30 here. You want to be 50% occupied at 30 days. Now, what about at 0 days into the future? What about today? How much do I want to be booked? In an ideal world, I want to be 100% booked Every day today, I always want to be 100% booked. Well, what about into the future? What about 60 days into the future? These booking targets are less important, but there's one thing specific that I look for, and I'll tell you in a moment. So in 60 days, let's just say 5%. We're good for 5% in the future. Something is okay. And then in between, 25% at 30 days, 75% at 7 days. Now, focus your attention here on these percentages. Now, what if we're at 45% occupancy at 15 days into the future, my booking lead time for this example? What would I do with my pricing? This is the first question. So my booking lead time is 15 days. I want to be 50% occupied, and I'm actually 45% occupied. What do I do with my pricing? I would lower it slightly. We'll get into how much in a moment. That's how easy my pricing strategy is. What if it was 55? You'd raise your pricing, okay? We're gonna details on how you do that, so stick with me. This is a very important video. I think it's probably my most important video. I have little topics about far out premiums, different customizations, what is the minimum price, what is the base price, and you should watch those. This is the overall video that I hope to roll it all up. Okay, so what I want to know here, the most important thing with my occupancy is if I'm at 45%, then as we go out to the future, the percent should be lowering. Okay, 27% at 30 days, 11% at 60 days. Whatever it happens to be, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Just as long as 13, let's say it's 50, 77, and 81. I just want, as days getting in, my occupancy should be higher. What if it's like this? What if it's like, 55, 52, 50, 67, 89? If you have something like that, if you have anything that doesn't go today highest occupancy, further out lower occupancy, then that is a booking trend. We'll get into that in customizations. I want you to connect the ideas, booking trend to customizations. If it doesn't make sense why occupancy should go down further out, post that in the comments and I will think about a different way to explain it. Now there's one nuance I need to tell you. Pricing is like you can learn it in a quick video with focused attention, but there's a few nuances that further bring you one level deeper than your competition in understanding how pricing works, thus making slow season look a lot different for you. If you're good at pricing, you don't really have slow season in terms of occupancy. Your nightly rate would go down in slow season, but your occupancy wouldn't. So I need to make one very important clarification here. What I just said is during high season. This is very important. I do a pricing power hour on Wednesdays, and this was a comment I got back from one of the participants. They said how important this concept was. I'd never realized how important it is until someone let me know, but it is very important. I sometimes gloss over it. This is the first time where I'm gonna dive in a little bit deeper. Let's say in our high season, our market is gonna get 100% occupancy or somewhere around there, more than 90%, okay? So that makes these numbers that I said earlier correct. But what if we're not in high season, we're in slow season, and the max occupancy we can get is 60%? In that case, our booking targets change, but in a very predictable way. Our booking lead time, let's say, is still 15 days into the future. So instead of taking half of 100%, if that's our expected occupancy, expected market occupancy, we're gonna take half of the expected market occupancy, 60. So in slow season, we actually want to be 30% occupied at 15 days into the future. That's an important concept I need you to understand, because if you're going for 80 or 90 or 100% occupancy in a slow month, you're going to be getting a much smaller nightly rate. That's a very important concept. If you're understanding these concepts, but you need some more help, or you want to join me on my Wednesdays, where I usually don't record these videos, I do it live with the class, then I'm gonna put a link in the description. I have a Airbnb pricing power hour on Wednesdays. Hosts come on, I show you how I price my listings, and then we have questions. You also get access to a forum where I am very active on that. Now let's get back to the strategy, okay? We have our booking lead time. With that booking lead time, we have developed our main booking target, 50%, okay? Now, when we go into Price Labs, which we're gonna do now, I'm going to compare my true occupancy to my booking target. So I'm creating a new column here. As you can see, I do this stuff every single week. I did it last week, that was the 3rd, today is the 10th. You can go back and see that I have been doing this for a very, very long time. It says 2021 here, it's been much longer than that. I think I changed documents. So I'm gonna explain what all these colors mean in a moment. Let's go to Price Labs. Now, the listing in question has a booking lead time of 15 days, okay? So, pop quiz. My booking lead time is 15 days, so I wanna be 50% occupied at 15 days. Here's the next nuance. It's not actually 50% because one reservation can swing you 10, 20%. So I wanna be between 40 and 60% within 15 days, okay? So if I go here, I know my booking target, that's 50% or 40 to 60 within my booking lead time, 15 days. Price Labs tells us right here where I'm at. 15 days, I'm at 40%. Okay, so that is on the lower end. Now, let's go one level deeper, shall we? If that's all I saw in a vacuum, that's good information. But what would be better information if I knew where I was at last week and the week prior, at least the last prior weeks, and that's why you must be recording this stuff. So if we go back here, it looks like I was light red. What that means is I was between 20 to 40% within my booking lead time, 15 days. No color here means I was 61% and higher, and dark red means I was 0 to 20%. That's not good. We got to get rid of that. That's why, of course, I lowered the base. These represents the base price. I lowered the base price to $775. It went up to $825. Now we're at $800 because last week I was somewhere between 20 and 40, and now I'm at 40. We're raising a little bit, but let me have a look at this calendar again. One other thing I'm going to do is look at awkward days just open. So this day is open, it's at my minimum. I'm not going any lower than that. This day, Monday, it's at my minimum, not going any lower than that. This is a weekend, so I don't really have any awkward days. Now, I do want to do one, oh, here we go, Saturday. So you see a checkout on a Saturday, that's an awkward day. So what I'm gonna do is when you change prices, you always want to go change on recommended price so you're still taking advantage of the algorithm. Now, I'm going to do it negative 25%. Okay, and I'm also going to do something else because I'm very familiar with this market. You see, I have a maximum on here. Most people do not need a maximum, only in the case where you have a very good Airbnb and your maximum can go higher than what you actually offer. So what that means is, okay, I could get $1,000 a night, but I'm gonna get a bad review and that's gonna hurt me more so. So I've gotta lower my maximum. So I know I'm gonna actually lower this to 900 because what I wanna do is my competition's booking lead time is a lot further out. It's 30 days, 35 days, mine is 15 days. And that's actually a healthy signal, but I'm gonna run a little experiment to see if by getting my booking lead time a little bit closer to the market, if I can actually make more revenue. I'm gonna save and refresh. That just updates within Price Labs. And then if I wanna sync now, that will bring it to your PMS or Airbnb. And I'm gonna lower the base price to $775. And then what do? We go back here, $775, and we're at 40. I'm gonna keep it at this 40 to 60, so I'm gonna go green. We were at 20 to 40, now we're at 40 to 60, just at that border. I wanna indicate to me that I have been going up, so I'm gonna put it at green there. Now let's move on to the next one. This one just came online. I was living in it, actually building out another bedroom and bathroom. So that's why you can see here, it was 175. It's almost as if it's a new listing calendar strategy, another concept I explained in other videos. So it was 0 to 20, right? I just opened up the calendar. Last week, it was somewhere between 20 and 40. The booking lead time here is also 15 days. So let's go to Price Labs and check it out. So at 15 days, I'm at 53%. So you see how easy this is? It's exactly what I want it to be. I'm at 53%. I'm moving up. I'm still at 175. I'm going to indicate to me that I'm within the green zone. Now, next week, if I come back and my true occupancy goes from 53 to 63, what would I do with that base price? I would raise it. How much would I raise it? About 5%, okay? So in this case, $10 to $15. If it's a giant jump, then maybe you do 20 bucks, okay? Now the next listing, let's move on to this listing is struggling big time. It's in a bad market. There's a glut of supply. It's in low season. I'm already at the minimum price. So I know that this is not going to be looking good. Let's go to Price Labs. You saw it was 30 days now. So now I want to be 50% occupied at 30 days, right? I have been 0 to 20%. 30 days, I'm 23, so I've moved up a little bit, but I can't do anything with the base price because we're already at a minimum price, right? Even well into the next month, besides the weekend, slightly elevated. So if we go over here, it's gonna be 145, and I'm gonna indicate to myself that, hey, the occupancy has gotten a little bit better. Now, there's one thing you can do besides lowering price. So if you have lowered price, based on my strategy here, there's one thing you can do before you lower your price, and that is a re-optimization. A re-optimization has you go into your listing and click around everything, rewrite your text, redo your cover photo and your layouts, your title, and this communicates to Airbnb, the algorithm, hey, this host is here, they're ready for new reservations, they've just updated substantially their listing. We want to give them some bonus views and ideally some reservations for that. So that's one thing you can do rather than lower the price. Now I have already done that on this listing. When I do that, I indicate it with a bold here, okay? Now let's keep going. This one is blocked for construction. Let's move on to the next one here. So 15 days again. The next booking lead time, there's gonna be another pop quiz. So stay with me for a moment so that we can drill in that booking lead time. Very important concept. All right, so at 15 days, we are at 47%. That's the green zone. Look, Price Labs even indicates it. So go back here, no changes. You see how easy and quick that is? There's all the guesswork is taken out. Now, of course, I'm gonna go back and look for awkward days. We have another awkward day here. So we have a Saturday check-in. So the reason why I don't limit weekends to have two nights or whatnot, because this is a very good listing and I know that oftentimes I'm gonna get a reservation on a Saturday. Actually, let me show you my calendar. Okay, if we are looking here, look, this is a weekend, okay? Some of these are direct bookings, but I wanna find, here we go, here's two. So we have a Wednesday to Saturday checkout, but I have a Saturday check-in. And I know in my market that I'm likely to get that because I'm a very desirable listing. Now, here we have it 2 times in a row, but I got a Saturday booking to fill up for 100% these 2 weeks. And here we had it again, Saturday checkout, we had a Saturday check-in. All right, back to the process here. So we have 15 days and then I'm gonna get into customizations. But look, here we have 30 days booking lead time, but I'm indicating here I wanna be between 35 and 55% booked. So what does that mean? Is my booking lead time higher or lower than 30 days? If you can answer that question, you have graduated this concept. If you said lower, you're correct. So remember, as we go out, our occupancy decreases. So this booking lead time is actually like 27 days. Price Labs doesn't allow 27 days, which is fine. We use 30 days. I want to be 35 to 55% booked within 30 days. Last week, we were at 465 base price. We were in that 35 to 55% range. Let's see what we're at today. And then I want you to tell me what I would do with my pricing. So there we see 465 at 30 days. We are 33%, so we're lower. So what are we gonna do with the base price? We are going to lower it, how much? About 5%. 5% is 20 bucks, 25 bucks. So let's go to 440, 25 bucks. We're gonna save and refresh. Now this listing has a minimum night of 3, which is unfortunate. That means that this Saturday here, this lonely Saturday, is not bookable because of the host's minimum nights. Now, if you're a property manager or whatnot, and this pains you because you're like, oh, we could get this booked out. You know, I know we're not going to get a party guest. This building has 24/7 security. The risk is very low. You can show them this and say, hey, we can get this night probably booked out about half the time at extra 200 bucks per year. That's an extra 1,200, 2,500 bucks. Now I'm doing that with this host, but we started at 5-night minimum. So I've been working him back. Now we're at 3 nights. So I'm not gonna show him this because it's too much. So we're gonna go back here and record it. Like I said, I do this every week. It's very important, it's very valuable. It's a very good use of my time. And then we will talk about customizations and end this video. Customizations take us to another level. So there's a few levels to pricing. The first one is understanding that there's dynamic pricing tools and connecting to them. The next level deep is understanding that they're not set and forget it tools, that you need to monitor it on an ongoing basis. The third level is, okay, let's monitor it on a weekly basis. The fourth level is, let's not only monitor it, but let's keep track of what we got going here. The fifth level is getting a strategy, a consistent strategy that we can tweak over time. And then the final level is customizations. Now, the biggest mistake that hosts do with customizations is they throw on a bunch of customizations and they actually don't know how they're interacting with each other, the customizations. And so the host doesn't actually know what the pricing is on the calendar. You should have less than 5 customizations, 5, 6 maximum really, not including minimum nights. Now I have a video on all the customizations. I also have a few videos on specific customizations. In this video, I want you to understand what is a customization and when do I use it. This is part of the reason how I've got my strategy, but then it's individually applied. No two pricing strategies are going to be the same. They're all slightly different. And a lot of it has to do with customizations, the final frontier of pricing. Now, again, I want to remind you that I do a pricing power hour on Wednesdays. The price goes up every 25th member. So if you're interested in learning more, click the link below, check out the program, and lock in your price. Whatever price you get in at, I will never raise that price. I promise you that, okay? Now, when you have a booking trend, that's when you're gonna use a customization, a booking trend that you don't like. What's a booking trend? It's that feeling you get, I know that's unlikely to get booked. That's a booking trend, okay? Now let's peel that onion back a little bit. We get days open today and tomorrow at our minimum. I know I'm not gonna get many of those booked. That's a booking trend. That's a trend you wanna reverse, and we're gonna reverse it with customizations. So if days are coming in without getting booked, you would do something pretty obvious. You would lower your minimum price. Now, coming up with your minimum price is very important. I have another video on that. It should be about half of your base price, no more than half. So if your base price is 200, your minimum price should be 100 or less, okay? Let's have a look at Price Labs and see what my minimum prices are. We've got 145 to 80, that was the struggling listing. This is 215 to 100, 185 to 130, 1,000 to 400, okay? A lot of times I see minimum price like 125 and base price like 140. Something is going wrong there. Now, what's another booking trend you're seeing? Well, remember that example I gave you where we had like about 50% occupancy up until our booking lead time, and then it went up to 67 and then like 78? That's a booking trend. You could have probably got more money for that. So you create a customization to counteract that booking trend. In this case, it would be a far out premium. We would raise our prices far out. Now, generally, the opposite is happening. We're not getting any far out bookings because by default on Price Labs, they raise your far out pricing too much, 19% in most cases. So you're missing out on reservations, whereas if you raised it just 10%, you'd probably get some far out bookings. And far out bookings is a winning strategy. If you can get some far out bookings at a premium price, that is a winning strategy. You're never gonna get a lot, but one every now and then, that's great. If you're interested in joining my Airbnb Pricing Power Hour, I have it on screen now. The next class we're doing is September 24th. That's when you will come on live. It's always gonna be in the mornings. Go to this page, I have a bunch of information. I'm showing you my dashboard and I'm answering all of the common questions so that you can understand whether or not you want to join. Now, outside of those classes, like I said, we have forum access. Forum is only for Profitable Property Program members and Pricing Power Hour members. You interact there with me. You have questions, the community can benefit from those questions. That's how we're going to get to the top of our market in terms of occupancy and rates. It is doable. I've repeated the process over and over and over for years and years. I'm so confident in saying that my pricing strategy really is the best. I would love for you to share with me if you think parts of my pricing strategy you do better.